I'm John, and this week I'm joined by Britt and Lauren. How are we feeling, guys?
Yeah, good.
Not too shabby. We've got a lot in store for you this week as we take a look at the Take Care Festival and the Wartime exhibition.
As well as the return of the City Steel Strings, who are back together after 10 years.
But first we have Britt with the news of the day.
The UOW's Undergraduate Student Association has slammed the federal budget handed down last night. The union says Joe Hockey's Have a Go budget continues the government's attack on education. At least 66 people have been killed and more than 1,000 injured after another earthquake struck northeastern Nepal last night. Nepalese authorities are concerned of the seasonal monsoon rains in the coming weeks that may trigger further landslides and add to the nation's devastation. A major El Nino event, which is likely to lead to another prolonged drier, hotter conditions across much of eastern Australia, has been officially declared by the Bureau of Meteorology. The impacts are said to be felt from autumn next year. Music icon Snoop Dogg is convinced that the HBO television series Game of Thrones is based on an historical event, using episodes as a source of information. He told a reporter for the New York Post that he tries to understand what the world was based on before he got here.
Thanks for that, Britt. Now back to the budget handed down by Joe Hockey last night. There's been handouts and hand-ups, more cuts to foreign aid, and the proposed changes to the university sector remain. We had mobile reporter Sally Krajicic out early this morning to find out what you think of Budget 2015.
I think it's really stupid. University funding doesn't really make sense. Doesn't sound right.
Governments suck, so it's easy for them to just throw that at us. And I feel sorry for all the future students that are going to continually have to pay more and more as the years go on. We need money. I think that's really unfair.
Small business owners are going to be winners, and working families. Women who don't want to return to work for a while after having a baby are going to be worse off. The government is trying to perhaps create a good platform for an early election.
Which budget are we talking about? It's unreasonable, I think.
I think it's pretty fair. There's not a lot of... the 20% reduction to unis is pretty rough. No, if 1.2 billion increase is necessary, I didn't see any problems with it before.
The university and Illawarra communities are banding together to look after those in need. The Take Care Fest has raised much needed funds for victims of domestic violence, as Alana Mazzoni reports.
Jane's Cafe, in partnership with the Feminist Society of UOW, held a concert on Saturday. Jane's Cafe, in partnership with the Feminist Society of UOW, held a concert on Saturday to encourage victims of domestic violence to seek refuge and find a safe place in their cafe. The Take Care Fest featured 7 talented local artists, with all proceeds raised going towards emergency toiletry packages for the affected women.
What FemSoc does is sort of through its free school and about kind of learning about different kinds of feminism. Some of the things that we've been learning about are the hideous rates of domestic violence in Australia. So we're trying to have an event where people can feel a bit more comfortable. That's why we kind of have a safe space policy.
The event came just after new statistics were released that 500,000 Australian women reported that they had experienced physical or sexual violence in the past 12 months. Alana Mazzoni, UOWTV.
I'm glad this kind of thing is happening around the place because you really need to have more awareness. You can never have enough awareness, in fact, of this domestic violence issue.
The Human Rights Commission has released a national guide attempting to assist LGBTI students in selected universities. It's good news for UOW.
The Commission found that only a small number of universities are committed to accommodating LGBTI students. These include the University of Wollongong, University of Sydney, University of New South Wales and Curtin University in Western Australia. This is deemed as an important issue as university is often the first place people struggling with gender and sexuality issues may feel comfortable to be themselves. James Wilson, UOWTV.
This is great because it just shows that UOW is so accepting and there is a sense of belonging too.
Definitely. It's so good to see this acceptance and change happening in our very own university.
We'll now take a short break, and when we return, we'll be joined by Madison Hockey, who is going to discuss Dragons Abreast, and will be followed by our weekly Turk Talk.
My name's Sydney Peed. I am the editorial content manager today, or one of them.
Daniel Jeffrey, I'm a topic editor today.
My name's Peter Prandalos and I'm hosting the afternoon shift of Radio U today.
My name's Grace Stranger and I'm the editorial content manager in the newsroom today.
I think the best part about being a journalist is putting faces to stories and really realising that behind every story is a human person with a real life and a real job and a real family, and you get to express that to the rest of the community.
Australians, we love sport, and sport is my passion, so being able to talk to everyone about sport and learn more about sport and then tell people about what's going on in the sporting world, it is just so cool.
The amount of practical experience that you get working within these newsroom subjects, where it's the actual experience of being a journalist without being out there in the world, so it's not as daunting, but you're still getting great experience. You're writing stories constantly, you're working to deadlines, and yeah, it's getting you out there.
Radio U is a great initiative run by the UOW. Through it I was able to gain an internship with 97.3 ABC Illawarra, and through that internship it gave me great insights into what working in radio is like in the real world and the rigours and fast pace of a newsroom, so I'm all for Radio U.
The international movement known as Dragons Abreast is celebrating a milestone this year by uniting breast cancer survivors through an unlikely sport. Hi Madison, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Thanks for joining us. Now, I just want to ask, how did all this start?
So Dragons Abreast started about 20 years ago. A Canadian Dr. Mackenzie, he wanted to disprove the theory that repetitious exercise, upper body exercise, was bad for breast cancer survivors and sufferers. So he got a group in to test the theory out, and he disproved that, and they really took to the sport.
Oh, fantastic. Well, why don't we take a look at the video?
This year marks the 20th anniversary of Dragons Abreast. The organisation brings together survivors and supporters of breast cancer through the sport of dragon boat racing. The Illawarra Dragons Abreast group competes in regattas around Australia. The team, however, is open to people of all ages and fitness levels.
I got up to state level. Other members, other breast cancer survivors have actually paddled for Australia. It's great just to be able to do it to what level you want to do it at.
They are hoping to gain interest from younger members of the community.
We do have a 13-year-old up to 86, but we'd really like to get more university students and perhaps a university team.
Madison Hockey, UOWTV.
Well, it looked like a fun day, Madison. Can you tell us a little bit about the message, the overall message behind the event?
I mean, it's all about support for breast cancer. The people there are just the most lovely people you would ever meet. They're all about community and having fun through the sport.
And would you be able to tell us, do you think there's potential for a university team, and can anyone join?
Yeah, 100%. They're actually looking for younger participants to come and join. They'd really love to get a university team and even get into the uni games. So anyone, any fitness, any age can come and join.
Cool stuff. I have to get in to get these forearms going. Well, thank you for coming in, Madison. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
Rain and gale force winds have lashed the Illawarra coast today.
New shoes, Sally, how are they?
Yeah, but it's like the principle of the matter.
Okay, DC or Marvel?
Oh, it's time for our much anticipated Turf Talk. This week, Beck and Jared dive into the topic of online dating.
If you're still with us by now, really, we're honestly impressed.
Yeah.
So, online dating.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Sally, have you ever done online dating?
No.
Not at all?
No.
Do you have any friends that do any online dating?
Do you have any friends at all? Was the actual question.
Jeez.
I do.
These are the
they
hard
do have
questions.
Tinder. I don't understand Tinder.
You don't? Okay. So
Because it wasn't out when I was like.
Yeah, when you were
single.
yeah.
Does that make sense?
So I've done Tinder before. I know the deal.
I started thinking about like, is this sort of thing cheapening relationships? Like
what? Like online dating?
Yeah. Is it sort of making it a bit less special? Like my mum and dad have a beautiful like first meeting story, and I would want my first meeting story being some guy asked me to watch Jumanji.
Maybe 30 years from
Yeah.
now, it's like 10 times worse, and then it's like, oh, you guys met on Tinder, like just from talking to each other. That's so lovely.
That's so
That's a good way to put it.
pessimistic.
It's a good way to put it.
Like maybe in
You
30
don't
years,
know.
everyone's doing arranged marriages.
I mean,
and it's like a beautiful love story to talk about Jumanji on Tinder.
I always thought when you watch like through like The Notebook or you watch like Titanic or all those old like love movies, and you think like, how did they? Because they didn't have like phones to like call each other and stuff. They only had letters or whatever, or they'd run into one another randomly at like a carnival or like out in the street. Like that doesn't happen now.
No.
Yeah, that didn't
'Cause, like,
happen
really,
then
if I
either
walk-
because it was a movie.
That's what I
But
mean. Like, if
that's
I walk
okay.
someone like past uni, like I'm not going to see them again.
I
So
saw her
it's like,
across the crowd at the Ivy. It was a beautiful.
Oh,
then I
gross.
just never saw them again.
Yeah.
Like you need technology, I guess, to communicate.
It is kind of
One
incredible.
another.
Like it is kind of weird. I think it's also because 30, 40 years ago, a lot of the ways that people were getting together is that they wouldn't like with Tinder. You are you're literally like churning through people that you could potentially be dating.
Like a factory.
Yeah,
How
right.
romantic.
It is. Once the connection is made and you find you're Mr. Big.
And
then
the
you
lefts,
can really...
the lefts are like the abattoir, and the rights are like the.
But I see it as like the whole factory thing. Like it's
Yeah.
kind of it can work kind of because why would you waste your time on like dating someone trying to
Yeah,
find out someone
That's true. No, but I mean, I agree because, like, it's so difficult. People talk about the 1 in a million, right? And it's like, oh, are you going to find that 1 in a million person? No, you're not, unless if you're going through a million other people. And this is like a very efficient way of going through a million people very quickly.
Yeah. I guess I just prefer a bit more spontaneity in my
Right.
dates. I don't want to know everything about them. I
Yeah.
want to get to know them, and I think that online dating can sometimes take away kind of that magic of it. And especially when you have people like you,
Yes.
Jared,
Yeah.
who are just using it to like have a joke about Jumanji.
It's not a joke. I will watch Jumanji with someone. It'll be romantic as hell. But I see
Would
what
you
you're
feed
saying.
them? Are you going to make them dinner?
No.
Can we live stream your date?
Yeah.
Yes.
Set up a hidden camera on
Yeah,
top of the TV.
yeah, that'll work.
But don't tell her about it.
No.
And then, like, when she's starting to fall for you, be like, surprise, I filmed everything.
Yeah, yeah.
She'll
Like,
be
you
so
actually
excited and happy. And with
I
that,
guess you're right.
with that, we wish you adieu. This has
Yeah.
been Beck,
Jared.
Sally. We got there. Hope to see you next week.
Well, if my eyes don't deceive me, I think that was Sally in the middle there.
I think it was. How much airtime does Sally really need?
Too much.
So tell me, guys, what are your opinions on online dating?
I had a Tinder account for a day, but it kind of intimidated me, and I needed to get off it.
It just
straight
got
away.
too over the top. I used Tinder for a bit. It was useless. It was more thumb exercise than anything, but I got nothing out of it. But I met my girlfriend through OkCupid, so props to that stuff.
Oh,
It's good.
well, look, it does work.
Yeah.
The pages of history continue to be turned in the wake of Anzac Day commemorations. Among the events being honoured, the landmark Waratah Marches. Alana Mazzoni report.
The Wartime Society of the Illawarra gathered in the old courthouse to remember and reminisce on Wollongong's experiences of World War I and II. The night featured an exhibition of wartime artefacts as well as speeches from veterans and community members telling their personal stories.
Said he chooses another town some distance away from where he lived.
All the households had to make some sort of provision in case we had an air raid. And also the cars had funny little things on their headlights so the lights wouldn't shine up, they would just shine down onto the road.
Food coupons just like these were used in Wollongong in the Second World War. Rationing was strict as food supplies and other materials were scarce.
To buy, say, a rasher of bacon, you had to have a certain number of coupons. And if you didn't have the coupons, the butcher wouldn't sell you bacon.
The night also commemorated the annual Waratah March, which began in the First World War 100 years ago. Volunteers marched from Nowra through the Illawarra to Sydney to gather recruits to fight in the war. The exhibition has been running since Anzac Day and will go on for another 2 weeks. Alana Mazzoni, UOWTV.
I love to see these old artefacts of history, especially from the war. I think that was a really defining moment in the world.
It really was.
local string orchestra has got back together after 10 years apart. Featuring 16 musicians, Steel City Strings had made a comeback at the Wollongong Art Gallery. Olivia Funnell reports.
Steel City Strings, an Illawarra-based orchestra, is back after a 10-year hiatus. The orchestra was formed to fill the gap that was left by the Wollongong Symphony Orchestra, which came to an end due to sponsorship issues in 2011.
After that, the Wollongong Symphony unfortunately fell apart as well, and so my thought was that we need to bring strings back to Wollongong. So I thought that we should start and revive Steel City Strings.
The orchestra has attracted musicians from a variety of backgrounds, including a cellist from Albania. The orchestra is an important platform for local musicians to come together and play.
I just wanted an outlet to play my instrument. With violinists, they just want to play as much as they can, but as a community aspect of playing and trying to just get yourself out there.
I think that Wollongong has a definite musical community, and it's just about bringing all of these people, these really talented people, together so that we can bring some culture to the Wollongong area, which it already has, just bring more to it, I guess.
And if this evening's performance is anything to go by, the orchestra has a string future ahead. Olivia Funnell, UOWTV.
Well, that's fantastic. So tell me, guys, do any of you play a musical instrument?
Just playing the recorder count when I was 8. I mean, it's nothing compared to what these guys are doing. It's something, surely.
Oh, sure.
I played the guitar, but I don't think that really fits in with this. But this is awesome that they're bringing back orchestra, because you don't really see it that much in the Illawarra anymore.
No, well, I think we've had a great show, guys. I think we should just stay as the permanent hosts.
I wouldn't complain if that happened.
I think we should.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for joining us this week on Newsdesk, and make sure you catch all of our work on our YouTube channel, UOWTV Multimedia.
And our Facebook page as well.
And don't forget the actual website itself, which is, a bit of fun, UOWTVmultimedia.com.
Bye, guys.
See you later. Don't forget to hashtag us on Newsdesk.